Hi, everybody. All right, so yesterday we were talking about translation on the canvas. Today we're going to talk about rotation. So, real quick, before we get started, I'm just going to comment out that translate. We'll put it back in a little bit. And I'm actually just going to change the x and y values of my fill rect so that this shape is actually here. All right, now this shape was here before because it should have been at 0, 0, but that translation of 100 in the x and 100 in the y moved it 100x over and 100y down. All right, so now if we run this, we should have the same image but without translation. Now if I wanted to rotate this image, I could very simply put in ctx.rotate. All right, and then rotate will take a single parameter, and that parameter is the radian measure of the angle you want to do your rotation. All right, so what I'm going to put in here is math.pi divided by 18. And this is going to be 10 degrees. All right, and just in case you don't trust me there, we said that 180 degrees is equal to pi radians, right? So if this is math.pi in JavaScript, this is you just write it as pi. If we divide both sides by 18, 18 divides out to 10 over here, so this would be 10 degrees is equal to pi divided by 18 degrees. So that's why I did this. I just wanted to rotate it by 10 degrees. So now if I run this, you should see our rectangle is rotated by 10 degrees. But you'll notice that it sort of changed positions. It used to be over here, now it's down over there. Let's do some more. Let's do it by 20 degrees, which would be 2 times math.pi divided by 18. And you'll see it's moving further and further to this bottom left corner. All right, let's show it. 3, that's a 30-degree angle. Yep, let's do 4. And if we keep rotating it like this, it'll eventually be off the page. All right, reason being is, well, you're rotating around an axis, and that axis is not the center of your shape. All right, the axis of rotation is always 0, 0. All right, it is always going to be that 0, 0 part of your canvas, with some exceptions. All right, and those exceptions are when you translate your canvas. So let's say we wanted to rotate this. Let's say we wanted to rotate this around the center of this rectangle. This is not going to be the center of the rectangle, but all right. If we rotate like this, we'll actually get a little bit closer. All right. Now the point of rotation is actually just here. Let me just cut this out and put this at 0 right now. The point of rotation here is actually going to be this top left corner. All right. I can't really just keep my mouse there and run it, but let's see. It should be, yeah, it'll stay in the same place. All right. And you could actually see this if we animate this drawing. So let's just animate this real quick so that you guys can see it just rotate around and around that value. So let's say we have var t is equal to set timeout function draw. Let's do this every 10 milliseconds. Why not? All right. Instead of this being a 4, I'm just going to make this some variable x. Up here, I'll put, you know what, let's call it a for angle. Why not? Var a is equal to, let's say 0 at the start. And let's just increase a by some small amount. I'll increase it by 0.1. All right. If you do that, what did we do? It's drawn briefly. What's the problem? Here, why don't we change this to a clear rect? And why don't I just get rid of that? I know what the problem is. Okay, never mind. Mr. Sands is being silly. I don't even need to do that. All right, so the problem that's happening is that each time I run the draw method, this translate keeps on happening. So it keeps on shifting it by 100 every single time. So what we actually have to do is we have to make sure to untranslate it. So that's just translate by the negative of the values that you translated it before after each draw. So this should fix what we're doing. All right, and you'll see our shape starts to spin. All right, and it's spinning around that one axis. All right. Let's see if we can't slow this down a little bit. Let's make that every 100 milliseconds. And so you can see the rotation happening. Now, you'll see this rotation gets faster. The reason why the rotation gets faster is because we're actually rotating every time. So just like when we translated and untranslated, we should rotate and unrotate. And pay special attention to the order I'm doing this in right now. All right, your rotates and translates and eventually scales, when you are undoing them, you should always undo the most recent one that you've done. So I did translate, then rotate. Then when I want to undo it, well, my most recent one was rotate, undo that one first, then undo the translate. All right, so now this should be a nice even turn. As long as, this should be at times. That's why it's giving me an error. So now this will turn nice and slow around that point. Okay. So what can we do if we wanted it to turn around the center of the shape? Well, firstly, we need to realize this is a 20 by 20 rectangle, right? So we want to actually, here, let's draw this out. We have a 20 by 20 rectangle, right? 20 by 20. We are currently rotating around this point. We want to rotate around this point. Well, where is that center point? Well, that center point is going to be half the distance of the x, or the width, and half the value of the height, or length. All right, well, if this is 20 and 20, that means we have to shift by 10 in the x and the y. The way we can draw that is we can just say, hey, draw my fill rect the negative of that amount to the left and right. Now if I do this, you'll see it rotates around the center of this shape here. Let's bring this draw time back a little bit. And there you go. You'll see we now have a square that rotates on its center. Okay, I know this might be a little bit of a difficult concept to get. Don't worry about that. If you have any questions at all, put them in the Discord, all right? You can find that link right up there. Please just join if you haven't already and ask a question. Feel free to discuss. Discuss it in your periods, the period text chats. And yeah, there you go. That's rotation. Tomorrow we're going to do dilation. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this rotating square and we're going to make it like pulse, bigger and smaller. It's going to be real cool. But yeah, so good job so far today. Make sure you're doing the attendance every day. You know, I'm checking that. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.